Let's welcome with energy and enthusiasm our Managing Director of Goa-IDC IAS, Pravimal Abhishek Polumatla for you. Everybody, come on, can I hear you? Right, thank you.
A very good afternoon to one and all. I would like to thank the NAR and the GAR team for having me here and giving me this opportunity to speak on this stage. I would really appreciate the energy with which the MC is carrying this event. And when she asked about Goa, a lot of people here talked about party, pleasure, enjoying and all that. But I'm here to tell a different story about Goa. Had she posed that question to me, I would have answered it in a different way. So I think that has set the context. So this talk about the industrial development in Goa is going to show what Goa is capable of in addition to its vibrant tourist ecosystem. And as the Industrial Development Corporation, we have recently organized the first ever Investors Summit in Goa, called as Invest Goa, on 29th January 2024, in which we have seen a very, very enthusiastic participation from industry people from across the country. So I also felt when this invitation came to me to participate in this convention, I felt that this is the most appropriate event wherein we can talk about the Goa Industrial Development Corporation, various reforms that the corporation and the government is taking to enhance the ease of doing business, the importance of the industrial ecosystem as it is, and also various opportunities that are available for the industrialist and also to the real estate developers. So you might be wondering, this is a completely industry talk, and what are the real estate developers have to do with this talk? But very soon, I think you will discover great opportunities with Goa Industrial Development Corporation. So we organized this Investor Summit primarily with a focus on changing the narrative about Goa. As I said, a lot of you talked about Goa as a partying destination, but I would like to also talk about some of the statistics. In terms of the GDP contribution, the manufacturing and the industry put together adds more GDP to the state economy than the tourism in its entirety. And Goa is also the fourth largest pharmaceutical manufacturer of India, and also the fourth largest pharmaceutical exporter from India. It contributes to 12% of exports from the state, for the entire country. And a state with having such a small geographical area, contributing to 12% of our pharma exports is something phenomenal that's often not talked about. And in addition to it, other key objectives of having that conference and also this talk is to tell about various governance reforms, is to network with people, and is to build a dialogue so that we also get a feedback, and that feedback can help us enhance our policies, and also to showcase what are the opportunities that are available in Goa. Before we go into that, I would like to speak about the Goa Industrial Development Corporation. We are a corporation formed by the Industrial Development Act of 1965. The corporation came into existence in the year 1966. Today we have 24 industrial estates across the state of Goa. And all these industrial estates are notified areas by the state government. When we talk about notified areas, in these industrial estates, there is no interference of any local authority, be it panchayat or be it municipality. All the powers of the local body are vested in the corporation. And the corporation acts as the single point authority to provide all sorts of clearances, permissions, providing amenities and infrastructure in these industrial estates. So, for instance, even the matters related to technical clearances of your construction plans, occupancy certificates, everything is dealt by the Industrial Development Corporation, and that sort of provides a very insulated ecosystem for industries to thrive, to reduce the regulatory burden, and also to help us target on these areas to provide key industrial infrastructure. So coming to why Goa, as I said, it's already, it's India's fourth largest pharmaceutical exporter. And there are many key factors that make Goa a very, very strategic destination for investments. The primary reason being its strategic location on the western coast of India. As you all know, on the western coast, the biggest business hub is Mumbai. And down south, as you come towards the Kerala, if you can see, Goa has the potential to be at the midpoint between Mumbai and Kerala, which has access to states like Karnataka, Maharashtra, Kerala, and is having the potential to emerge as the next big industrial destination. And in fact, the vision of our government is to see Goa as to become the hub of logistics and warehousing on the western coast of India. We have excellent infrastructure and connectivity in the state of Goa. There's adequate power and water available. And also, Goa offers a great work-life balance, which I'm myself experiencing. I worked in Arunachal Pradesh prior to coming to Goa, and I've been living in Goa for the last 1 year. And I can say from my own experience that working in Goa is always great because no matter how much stress you take at work, you always have a good space outside work to kind of unwind and to come back with full energy for work in the next day. Talking about the reforms, what are we doing in the corporation to enhance the ease of doing business, to attract new investments into Goa? The first thing that we tried to do was the corporation allots land to industries for setting up of various businesses. And there are certain regulations that determine how the allotment of land can be made and what are all the subsequent transactions or the contractual agreements that we enter into after the allotment of land. So we primarily allot land to industrial undertakings, which typically involve manufacturing sectors, wherein there is, which typically fall into that macroeconomic definition of what is a secondary sector or what is a manufacturing sector. This has been the case in Goa for the last few decades, but in the recent regulations. So we had 5 set of regulations that deal with the allotment of land, that deal with the transfer of leasehold rights, that deal with the subleasing mechanisms. So in the last 1 year, to improve the ease of doing businesses, we have done a significant amount of legal reforms, consolidated all these multiple regulations and made one single piece of regulations, which has only 26 operating paras. And it is, I am very confident that we have one of the most transparent, comprehensive, and simplified regulations to do business in the entire country. We collaborated with Invest India at the national level, and we did benchmark Goa with other states and other countries, and we brought out the best regulations that we can, and these regulations were notified in the December last year. So under these new regulations, what are the key changes that we are looking at, and what sort of opportunities that you can look for? The first and foremost change that we brought in was with respect to the definition of the industrial undertaking. Instead of typically confining ourselves to the manufacturing industry, Goa has now given industry status to logistics and warehousing, and also to IT and IT-enabled services. Recently, we have also brought in the logistics and warehousing policy, wherein the government has, apart from giving industry status to logistics and warehousing, is in the process of coming up various other incentives for logistics and warehousing that cover end-to-end all the aspects of logistics and warehousing. So this is the first major reform that we have brought in. The definition of industrial undertaking expanded to bring in some of the service sectors also under the ambit of industry. How do we allot land? So typically, if there is a plot available in an industrial estate, what is the method of allotment? There are 2 methods of allotment. One is a committee-based approval, which is based on some sort of a scoring mechanism. The other one is through a market mechanism wherein there is a public auction involved. So in case of a committee approval, if the land area is less than 3,000 square meters, which is typically for small and medium sector industries, the committee which is within the Goa Industrial Development Corporation decides on the scoring, and also let's say if there are 10 plots available and we get 20 applications, so those 20 applications are evaluated on a set scoring matrix that is also incorporated in the regulation, and whichever industry is scoring high on that matrix, depending upon various factors such as employment generation, amount of investment that's being brought in, the category of the industries, all these things, a decision is taken by the committee within the corporation to make allotment to the land. In case of large investments, wherein the requirement of land is more than 3,000 square meters, there's another body called as the Goa Investment Promotion and Facilitation Board, headed by the Chief Minister of the state. And this is like a high-powered committee that looks into large investments, and that high-powered committee grants approval to these projects which are having requirement of land for more than 3,000 square meters. And the allotment of land to such approved projects is done by the Goa Industrial Development Corporation. In case of auction, there is no area limitation. So quite frequently, once in a year or 2 years, once in 2 years, Goa-IDC also comes up with this auction of industrial plots. In case of auction, some of the prime industrial plots are kept on the auction. When I talk about prime, I would say that these are the best parcels of land that are available with corporation in terms of the availability of infrastructure, access to various network nodes. I will show about some of the opportunities that are available in Verna Industrial Estate. Wherein Verna, if you go to Verna Industrial Estate, where we have the large number of pharmaceutical companies, that industrial estate is 20 minutes away from all modes of transport. The highway is passing through the estate, and within 20 minutes you can reach the airport, seaport, and also the railway station. So such prime locations, we typically allot them through public auction, and I will explain in detail how that public auction also happens. So let's say you got a land from the corporation. What are the typical payments that you make to the corporation to acquire the leasehold rights and to enjoy the possession of the land for a period of 95 years? So the lease term is for 95 years. And typically on allotment, these are the two payments that you make. The first payment is a land premium, which is calculated based on the plot area and the plot rate fixed by the corporation. This payment is not taxable, it is refundable, and it can be paid in installments, wherein you have to pay 20% of it in the first 1 month, and the remaining 80% of it in 8 equal installments or a period of 8 years, and there will be 11% simple interest on those installments. The second amount is called as the lease rent, which is an annual recurring payment, which is calculated as 2% of the land premium. And this is an annual payment, and GST is applicable on this. And the increment of lease rent is 10% after every 3 years. So therefore, in terms of a real estate terms, if I have to give an example of, let's say, from a real estate point of view, if I'm taking a flat on rent, I typically pay a security deposit to the owner of the flat, and I also pay my monthly rent. So it is similar to that. So you have a land premium, which is like a security deposit, but it is non-taxable and refundable. You have a lease rent, which is like your annual payment, and that forms the consideration amount based on which you will be granted the leasehold rights. So let's say you acquire the land, and you can set up you started to set up your factory building. You decided that you will manufacture, let's say, shoes or maybe some other pharmaceutical products, but it ends up somehow that your business is not running well. And you might be incurring a lot of losses, and your company might decide that I want to exit the business. So in the old regulations, when somebody wanted to exit the business, there were no proper avenues for exiting the business. So typically, if somebody is taking an empty land, doing some development and constructing a building, there's a value addition that you are making to that property. So ideally, if somebody wants to exit the business, they would like to salvage as much, maximize the gains that they can get when they're exiting the business. See, in the old regulations, what was happening was that, let's say if a company A want to transfer their leasehold rights to company B, it was permitted, But the corporation imposed a very hefty amount of transfer fee that was amounting to almost 50 to 60%, in some cases almost 60% of the land premium, which made transfers extremely prohibitive. And that's one of the reasons why we have a lot of defunct industries which are present in our industrial estates. And this has led to, the only exit option that was available for an industry which is turning sick is to surrender their property back to corporation, let all the investment that has gone into development of that plot, go waste. And that did not, work out for many industries. And today we kind of estimate that there are as much as 500 to 600 units across all industrial estates which are not functioning and where land is locked and that land is not available for new entrepreneurs. Now, this has a huge opportunity cost to the government and to the society. Forget about the revenue that we might be getting. But if one company is able to generate 10 jobs, with 600 units, we are looking at almost 6,000 job losses and 6,000 households not getting the basic income. So recognizing this problem, we have simplified and liberalized the transfer mechanism. So let us say you have the allotment and today you are the lessee with the corporation and you would like to transfer your leasehold rights to another company. The corporation and the government has taken a decision that there will be absolutely no cost imposed on such kind of a transaction. But you cannot transfer empty land because that is just like trading in land. So there are some very minimal conditions imposed on transfers. What are those conditions? The first condition is that you need to have an occupancy certificate, which means that you cannot transfer an empty land. Essentially, you need to build some factory building, and then only you can transfer that land. Second thing is, you need to clear all your payments like land premium and lease rent because you are exiting the business. The third thing is that your built-up area should cover at least 30% of the plot area that we have allocated to you. In addition to these three simple conditions, there are other minor conditions that you cannot transfer it to a disqualified entity, which we have given a definition of what a disqualified entity is. And you cannot transfer an industrial plot to a commercial enterprise. So this is, and you should not be barred or prohibited by any court or a tribunal for making such transfer. So as long as you are fulfilling these conditions, you are free to transfer and there is no fee or cost imposed by the corporation on the transfer. Now, what is the opportunity for the real estate developers in this whole system? The opportunity is that in the earlier regulations, there was a condition that the business should be in commercial operations to be eligible for transfer. In the new regulations, we have removed that condition that you need to be in commercial operations to make a transfer. So therefore, you actually don't need to start the business. You can take the plot, construct the building, satisfy these three conditions, and transfer it to somebody else. So the whole idea behind this liberalized transfer mechanism is to create privately led plug-and-play infrastructure in the state of Goa. So frankly speaking, I don't know, maybe when my parents started investing like in construction of house, in their generation, I remember them, taking an empty land, constructing a house, and then moving into that house. But in my generation, amongst my friend circles, or even amongst all the people who are investing in, residential homes, today I don't see anybody investing in empty land. They would like to take a built-up area or a, already developed property and move into that villa or move into that apartment. So companies have also started looking at that model of functioning, wherein they want to get rid of all this headache of taking an empty land, doing all the construction activity, getting all the clearances in place, and then starting the businesses. Rather, companies are looking for a plug-and-play sort of an infrastructure where there is a built-up area or some sort of a customized industrial building that is built for their requirements, and then bring in their plant machinery and their manpower and start the production activities. So I think this is where there's a great opportunity for the real estate developers, wherein you can acquire the land from Goa-IDC, and you can have a pre-agreement with any of the companies that want to come into Goa, that want to invest in Goa, and build a factory building according to their requirements, satisfy these conditions, transfer the property to them, exit the business, and take another property, again do the construction activity, transfer it to that company, and exit the business. So this is how I feel real estate developers can play a huge role in enhancing the industrial development in Goa and also in creating this plug-and-play infrastructure in a very privately led mode. Next topic is about subleasing. So let's say you have a built-up area and you would like to sublet it to somebody. Why is subleasing important? Because India is a thriving startup ecosystem. There are hundreds of startups mushrooming every day, and they do not want to take up any permanent land or building. Rather, they just want to take a small rented place, test their products, test their manufacturing process. If it doesn't work out, have an easy exit out of it. In addition to it, warehousing and logistics would also require a substantial amount of subleasing. In our previous regulations, we did allow subleasing, but there was a limit that a company can sublease only to a maximum of 3 people. In the new regulations, we have removed this upper cap on the number of subleases that you can give. So you can give sublease to n number of people, and there is no limit to it, and there is no upper cap to it. So what is the advantage of it? Like, for example, if you look at Hyderabad, where there are IT parks. So today, a real estate developer can acquire a plot in Goa, and because IT is an industry, you can set up a completely a brand new IT park, and you can sublease any amount of floor space to any number of IT companies to come into Goa and start their businesses. Similarly, let's say you want to start a food processing park or a logistics and warehousing park, real estate developers can acquire sufficient amount of land, create such facilities, and bring in multiple players, and let them take the built-up area on sublease methodology, from your company. So this is permitted. There is a very simple sublease fee that Goa-IDC imposes, which is 8% of the total built-up area multiplied by the plot rate at that particular point of time. But that's very nominal, and that's very reasonable from the corporation's point of view. So these are the ways in which I think real estate developers can participate in the industrial development process of Goa, make your investments, and gain the maximum, and also contribute to the industrial development in the state of Goa. As I said, with respect to those 600 or 500 odd SIC units, we are tying up with a lot of industry bodies, and we are planning to organize some buyer-seller meets in the coming months, so as to see if there are any interested investors to buy in those plots, because now that there is no transfer fee, there's a great opportunity for the sellers to get a good value from the buyers, because that the cost that they are earlier paying to the corporation, which is 50-60% of the transfer fee, is no longer there. So these are some of the opportunities available, but immediate opportunities that you have are these plots which are available through e-auction route. And as I already told, Verna Industrial Estate is the topmost industrial estate in the state of Goa, and I can tell with a lot of confidence that it would be one of the best industrial estates in the country. Very prime location in the central part of the Goa. Again, 20 minutes from all 4 modes of transports. So we have currently 16 industrial plots which are available for allotment through auction mode. We have simplified the regulations. We have simplified the e-auction process. It's a very, very simple process. E-auction is done through a third-party organization. So India e-auction portal developed by the NIC is the platform on which we are doing the e-auction. The information about these e-auctions is available with us. We have got adequate brochures, so I'll request the GR team to coordinate with the IDC team and ensure that the information about this e-auction is available to all the delegates present here. In addition to it, 10% of area in all industrial estates is earmarked only for commercial enterprises. This could be anything which is not falling under the definition of industrial undertaking or not falling under the definition of utilities, like overhead tanks or electricity substations or hospitals. Any commercial enterprise which is not falling under the definition of industrial undertaking or the utilities, can obtain the plot and set up their businesses. There is a negative list. The only businesses that you cannot set up in commercial plots is gambling houses and the retail wine shops. Other than that, any commercial establishment can come. This could include shops, restaurants, saloons, hotels. So we have we have offered 4 plots in the Verna Industrial Estate, again in the prime location. One of those 4 plots we have dedicatedly earmarked it for construction of a hotel, business hotel, and the remaining 3 plots are open for any kind of commercial enterprise. In addition to this, there are 27 industrial plots in Latambasim, which is the newest industrial estate right behind the Mopa airport. And we are very confident that with the PM Gati Shakti coming into place, there will be much better, right now the access is a small problem there, but under PM Gati Shakti we are considering for direct connectivity from Latambarsam industrial estate to the airport, and that will make the airport accessible within 20 minutes of time. And definitely this place is going to be the hub of future logistics and warehousing, because it has closest access to the Mopa airport. Currently, we have a lot of other plots also, but at the moment, we wanted to develop a food park in the Latambarsam industrial estate. So all the 27 industrial plots are meant only for food processing industries and manufacturing of beverages. So very soon, we'll also be coming out with another public auction for setting up of cold storages and warehouses. So these are the opportunities available. And in case of auction, I just want to clarify why auction need not be a very expensive way of getting land in the state of Goa. As I said, typically you make 2 payments. One is the land premium. So in case of an auction, the land premium becomes plot area into H1 bid. So let's say you have a 10,000 square meters plot, which is 2.5 acres roughly, and assuming that the highest bid goes to 8,500 rupees, your land premium will typically be around 8.5 crores. And lease rent will be, as per the old regulations, lease rent was calculated as 2% of the land premium, which will become 17 lakhs per year, which is one of the major pain points for the industry. After gathering all the feedback from the industry and taking the consultation of industry, in the new regulations, we have reformed the calculation of lease rent. So whatever your H1 might be, your lease rent will always be subsidized. So you can go to Verna, and in the neighboring areas, the market value of land in Verna is typically around 13 to 14,000 or 15,000 rupees per square meter. So no matter how much the H1 bid might be, your lease rent will always be calculated on the subsidized rate, which will be around 5.6 lakh rupees per a plot of around 2.5 acres. So I also feel that all of you would appreciate that land premium is obviously a non-interest bearing security deposit, but all of you would appreciate the fact that the value of land is going to increase. Land is very scarce and limited commodity in the state of Goa. There is always a demand, and because the demand is high and the supply is low, even if you invest a lot in land premium, it would still on your balance sheets be your asset. And when you want to exit the business, I am 100% sure that the value that you will realize on the investment made on land premium will be very, very high. So these are the opportunities that are available. I once again thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I hope I have explained the regulations and also the opportunities very clear in such short period of time. Other key reforms that the corporation is taking is the floor area ratio in the industrial estates currently is 150, and the government has already, during the Invest Goa, Honorable Minister and Honorable CM have already announced it, that we are increasing the FAR to 300 and also the maximum building height to 35 meters. So this additional change, we have made it exclusively keeping in mind the logistics, warehousing, and also the IT and IT-enabled services. We have also done one of the most thorough, accurate survey of all the industrial estate in order to provide you good access to information. We have sub-centimeter accuracy maps of all the industrial estates, which we have already integrated at the back end to the PM Gati Shakti portal. And a publicly viewable layer is also available, which is called as the Goa Industrial Land Bank. So there are many more changes that we are bringing in. During the Invest Goa, we have launched an online building plan approval system, and we are in the process of creating the India's first digital public good for industry governance. I'm very confident and hopeful within the next 2 to 3 months, our portal will become live, and we are very committed to offer all our services in a faceless, time-bound, and transparent mechanism. So these are some of the key, this is the background about the Goa Industrial Development Corporation, the work we are doing, the opportunities that are available for real estate developers. I hope that was useful and insightful. And I, once again, thank you for giving me these opportunities. If we have any quick questions, I can probably take questions.
Right, thank you, Mr. Abhishek. I think we can take 2 questions.
Yeah.
Yes, he already has a question.
Hello. Yeah. Hi. So my question to you is, this is Omar from Bangalore. My question to you is, while you are giving an easy exit for investors who are investing in plots by auction route, by having the transfer fee as 0, don't you think you should also allow a percentage of the development as residential, or for that matter, for an industrial plot, a percentage of FSI for the commercial, for making it more viable? We have seen this in Bangalore and Hyderabad, where the industrial plots allotted or the industrial conversion to residential is very difficult. But then the demand for residential would be inherently there in that location. Do you have any provision where a 20%, 30% of the total development of the plot that has been bought can be used for residential? That makes it more viable and the developer may not want to exit. Thank you.
Yeah. So the building regulations are governed by the laws and regulations made by the Town and Country Planning Department. So within an industrial plot, there's no provision to construct residential complexes. But if your plot size is more than 5,000 square meters, a certain percentage of the built-up area can be used for temporary accommodation of your workers. But there is no such provision that within the industrial plot, you can set up, residential accommodations. Secondly, whatever 10% area that is available for commercial enterprises can be used for construction of workers' hostels or any employee residential facilities. A lot of pharmaceutical companies are looking forward for such kind of facilities. If the real estate developers here are interested, I would welcome you the most to, please tie up with the pharmaceutical companies. And if there is a demand, we will definitely allocate land that is available for commercial undertakings to set up such facilities. But why are we not very proactive in terms of conversion to residential areas? Because if you take the 24 industrial estates, the total land that we are occupying in the state of Goa is roughly 18 lakh square kilometers. So now, if you look at 18 square kilometers out of the total area of the state of Goa, we are hardly occupying 0.6 to 0.8% of the total geographical area of the state, but yet contributing very, very immensely to the economy of the state of Goa. So because the land is very limited, we are not considering a large, conversions into residential accommodations, and we want to keep the industrial estates separated from the residential accommodations for a particular reason. Yeah.
Sir, my name is Naveen. I am from Bangalore and Cochin, and with majority of the realtors here, and thank you, you have given a fantastic presentation. Would like to know, how does a realtor work with your organization, sir? And what are the service fees? Who pays? Kind of from your side, how is it kind of?
I think I have covered that extensively in the presentation. We are here to enable investments. So if you are an investor and if you want to acquire a plot and construct a built-up area.
Sir, as a realtor.
As a realtor.
Our service fee, does the government encourages in any service fee kind of, anything like that?
Can you just elaborate your question?
As a realtor, when we are doing a brokerage for a industrial property in any cities, there is a developer for that. So the developer gives us either the rental brokerage, or in case if we are facilitating a sale, we also get the sale brokerage, say like 2% or 3% kind of. In this case, how does it actually work, sir?
So in this case, unfortunately, the Goa Industrial Development Corporation as a government entity do not engage any kind of middleman. It's a lessee is a private entity holding the leasehold rights. So he is free to approach any other entity to transfer his leasehold rights. So as long as he is doing it within the ambit of our regulations, we are not making any questions. But we are not engaged with any kind of middleman or any kind of brokerage into do this.
Got it.
However, a lot of industry bodies are doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Check. All right, thank you, Mr. Abhishek, for joining us. We would like you to stay back as we would like to...
One question, please. Madam.
Unfortunately, we're running a little late, so would you like to?
No, it's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to me. I would not because we're running a little late, so sorry about that. Maybe you can catch up with him later outside. But okay, we would like to honor you with a memento, and for that, I would like to call Mr. Shiva Kumar, President, NAR India, on the stage. Come on, everybody, let's give a round of applause for him. Please join us this side for the memento. All right, come on, you know what you have to do. Right, by now, I think you all should be trained. Right.